I've always loved video games. You can probably tell from my shirt too. I think they can be fun, challenging, and addictive. That's mostly talk about the way it plays. While I always put gameplay first, recently I've had a new interest in video games. It's story. I know most of you probably, when you hear story, you're thinking of a book, a movie, a show, or a comic. But I think games can be just as good of a way to tell a story. But first, let's start at the beginning. In 1972, the first video game released, Pong. It was simple, just a ball and two lines. They're hitting the ball, it's a simple game, not really any big graphics, no story at all, just you and a friend playing. But it provided a new form of entertainment. In the 1980s, 1990s, while more games started to advance with better consoles, better games were being made. And because of that, some people felt the need to maybe give an explanation to these games. But they would only put them in the manuals, or they would just leave it out in the actual game. So you wouldn't know stuff like, oh, the main villain of Sonic is Robotnik, or oh, Bowser had a brother in the originals. You wouldn't know that unless you read the manual. But in 1998, a new game came out, Metal Gear Solid, created by Hideo Kojima. Hideo Kojima always wanted to find a way to make a movie feel like a video game, but due to the tech he had at the time, he wasn't able to until 1998 with the PlayStation 1. His video game managed to revolutionize stealth in video games, and it provided a new form of storytelling and showed people, yeah, you can make a story with a video game, especially in his sequels. He really showed that even more. But I think the early 2000s was really when a new age of storytelling began in the form of video games. The better the consoles, the better the tech, you can make better games, and with that you can make better stories. So different companies would have their own way of making a story, and some even took inspiration from others, like Persona taking inspiration from anime, Metal Gear and Silent Hill taking inspiration from action or horror games, or movies, Max Payne taking inspiration from comics. And where are we now? Storytelling games or story-focused games are being just as common as ever. Some say it's too much. I personally disagree. Different companies have different ways of telling a story still. Some examples here are Rockstar. Well, other than the fact they kind of revolutionized games in a way by making you be able to play as the bad guys, they also found a way to make a big open world and let you play as the characters, explore that world, let them live their ordinary life too. Telltale took inspiration from choose your own adventure stories. It's like watching a TV show and then choosing how you want the characters to act in that TV show. Like you're just watching the show, and then there's like a little interaction screen and lets you choose, oh, I want this character to do this character to do that. Naughty Dog found a way to mix in the story with their gameplay. They managed to have let you play the game while also like playing out scenes of that game as if it's like part of an action movie or a zombie movie and stuff like that. The one I chose on here that isn't made by a company, really, but it's not a company, it's a game only, is the Stanley Parable. That game, other than it's like witty commentary, it also provides like an analysis and breaks the fourth wall multiple times and explains like how narrative storytelling and how stories are made, while also letting you break the story itself. Over time, games started to get other adaptations. Like Sonic, for example, managed to become a comic and other series like Mario, Uncharted, and Sonic again managed to get movies made about them. And vice versa, other media like Batman, Spider-Man, Indiana Jones, for example, they managed to get video games to tell their stories. So you wouldn't just have to read a comic or watch a movie. The thing is, though, the video games being adapted to other media isn't the most successful, especially Uncharted, for example. It was not that big of a success as they were hoping. I think there's one sole reason, I think there's like many reasons, but the biggest reason why I think video games can't work as movies and other media is because of this. In December of 2024, PlayStation released the 30th anniversary advertisement as a thank you for playing their games. And at the end of the advertisement, they put a quote that says, "It's about you." Although this was probably their way of saying thank you, I think it meant another thing. What makes a story so great is the player, which is you. Something that games can do better than any other form of storytelling is letting you put yourself in the character's shoes. You weren't just learning about the characters, you are the character. You can understand a character's goals better. Like you can understand why a hero would want to save someone, why a criminal would want to do the things he does, why a survivor would want to live, or how much they struggle to live. I know most of you might not play games often, or maybe not play at all, but I recommend trying to pay attention to a game's story sometime. Or play your favorite game and focus on the story. Watch a video on YouTube about a video game. Maybe you'll have a better understanding or a change of perspective on video games. Thank you.